Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pairfect. I'm Dinah Ventura.
And I am Vernon Velasco. Today we have with us the Chief Executive Officer of Aquila Incorporated, a global consulting firm and consortium made up of some of the world's leading travel and transportation experts.
He's a sought-after expert speaker in a multitude of areas around travel and technology, digital transformation, lifestyle applications, and executive leadership.
Our special guest has had over 25 years of executive leadership and consulting experience and has worked with clients throughout the global travel sector. We're talking about travel tech startups, airlines, hotels, and OTAs, as well as the numerous collaborations with travel technology leaders.
Welcome to our show, Mr. David Palmieri.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So welcome to the Philippines as well. You've been here for a month, I hear. Okay.
Yep.
So let's talk about Aquila. You're the CEO of this company, which started out providing service support to BPOs. So how did the company expand or transition into the travel sector?
Well, the BPO area we focused on was in the travel sector. So the primary focus was, my background was really in interactive voice response platforms and call centers. So most of the BPO we did was really building out call centers or contact centers here in the Philippines over 22, 23 years ago.
Not that long ago.
No,
then.
and then we made the transition out of BPO more into strategic advisory and consulting services, which is really our core today.
Okay.
So you help them grow, basically.
Yeah, our focus is really taking companies, either startups. We've done numerous startups, well over 20, in specifically travel technology startups, and then even as companies as big as MasterCard or Gentex, and these are multi-billion-dollar Fortune 500 companies. But it's really more around advising those companies on how to work in this travel space. It is very not an easy vertical to break into and succeed in.
Just a diversion, Mr. Palmieri. Is there already travel startups in the Philippines that are as out there as we're talking about global travel startups like what have you?
There are, but most of them seem to be in the areas of hotels, tour operators.
Homegrown.
They are homegrown.
Right.
Yes. Then obviously you have the major players that sell within the market, right? Like Agoda or Booking.com. But for the most part, anything we've seen here in the last 2 years that we've been working on this project, most of the travel startups here are geared towards direct to consumer. So B2C, whether it's a tour operator, a new hotel, transportation, stuff like that.
So let's get back into the loop. Tell us why you are in the Philippines, Mr. Palmieri, right now. What is Aquila involved in that should transform the travel experience as we know it?
Well, it's actually quite an exciting project. So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was speaking at an event in London. It wasn't in London, but it was in the UK. And the Travel and Tourism Board of the Philippines was there.
Okay.
And I was talking about digital transformation and kind of smart city applications and how, how countries are starting to look at doing that themselves, right? Moving away from kind of having their businesses distribute their content through OTAs or different types of channels. So someone like visitphilippines.ph can now become its own OTA, and just so as I'm researching what there is to do in the Philippines, I don't have to go outside of that site to book, and that's what we spoke about. And they said, "Oh gosh, we'd love to do something like that," and we started discussions with them, and then there was the election, and the new president was elected, which was, great. I mean, he's fantastic. He's very focused on travel and tourism. So it kind of aligned with what the vision was. And we decided to form a private-public partnerip with them, and that company is called Sige Go.
Sige
Oh,
Go.
yeah, so, okay, let's go.
Sige, let's go.
Yeah, but just an addendum, Mr. Palmieri, what is that value you are actually adding to your clients? You are focused on their growth story, but what is that value you're giving them?
Well, so there's two types of clients we're talking about, right? So it's either at Aquila, which would be the consulting that we do, or in this case, Seagate Go, which is, the client in this case is really going to be you,
Okay.
the consumer. So.
Okay. So end users basically.
The end user, yeah. So Seagate Go really is, it is a application that is geared towards digital transformation, right? So, like I said earlier, I've been coming here to the Philippines for over 20-something years, and I remember my first time here, it was interesting. The traffic was unbearable. I landed late at night. It took me 4 hours to get to my hotel. And I've been coming back quite a bit ever since. And the transformation is remarkable, right? Just absolutely remarkable.
So just 3 hours of traffic now.
Now it's just, now it's 4 is, now it's 2.5.
Okay.
But there's a lot more to look at, right? So,
Okay.
the transformation is remarkable, right? I mean, it's not even recognizable. So, it was really a great place to kind of start off this smart lifestyle application to enhance, the lifestyle of the Filipino people, right? And then also to focus on promoting the Philippines for inbound travel, right? So the one thing I noticed too, the Philippines, in my 25 years, I've visited over 127 countries, and some great, some not. Couldn't wait to get out of them. But the one thing about the Philippines is it's absolutely incredibly beautiful, right? But what I think is the most incredible thing are the people, right? And look, you can go to Rome and you can go to all these different cities around the world, and they're breathtakingly beautiful. There's tremendous history. There's so much to see. But here, it's the culture's incredible, the food, the islands. But what makes it really great are the people, right? Because they're just so welcoming. They're warm. They're proud. And it's really exciting to be able to do this for them, right? And to build really the first ever smart city type, lifestyle application that will improve their lives without a doubt. And then also, promote it around the world of, how advanced you guys are, come visit the Philippines, and really focus more on, it's not just about, the beauty.
Yes.
It's about the people and the culture.
Is this is Sigego
Sige go. Yeah.
something
Let's go.
that will help everybody experience this kind of experience you're talking about in the Philippines?
Well, for sure. I mean, I think it will enhance the lifestyles of everybody, right? Whether you're a small little tour operator down in Palawan that, barely has internet, to someone in Makati, there's no doubt it will. It'll enhance the visibility of this, what they have to offer. It will enhance the commerce part of their business. So, really making money readily available and immediately available. So, because it's important, right? Cash flow is important. You book trips, they need that money. So rather than waiting months and months to get it, it's instantaneous. So it'll just improve cash flow. It'll improve everything for them.
Okay.
It comes to me as a very abstract because there are actually a lot of moving parts. But
tremendous.
but which vertical or which verticals, if you will, are you coming in?
We have over 32 verticals currently. The primary are air, hotel, ground, transportation, so to and from airport, train, dining, nightlife, tours, activities, and parking. So you'll be able to even reserve a parking spot now, right off your phone, and you'll get there and you won't have to wait in line an hour to get in to hope you get a spot. The spot will be there.
Okay. But how would you earn from it?
We don't. So that I won't talk about. But I will say this. The experience that we have in working with a lot of other providers of something similar like OTAs and different agencies, our model is extremely favorable to the supplier, right? We want to feed them. So our revenue is not made off the supplier. So they will earn more revenue by having
Being
the
a part.
having CGAGO be that booking system for them.
Okay.
Maybe at the outset, but later.
No, it's
Such a cynic.
no, that's fine. It's you know what? If you do it right, there's no need to, right? You play volume.
Right.
This is a volume game. It's not about
All right.
trying to make as much money off a single tour operator as you possibly can. It's making money off hundreds of millions of tour operators around the
Constantly.
world. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Right? So the revenue is generated in other areas so that we don't impact the revenue of the supplier.
I see.
Yeah.
So something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So who are you working with for this venture?
So that's important, right? So we've selected several partners around the world. Simple Night being the most important, which is Aquila has interest in Simple Night, and I've been a partner of that CEO for over a decade. They're like family now. And you know, Simple Night really is the backbone of the system.
Okay.
It is a global distribution system that is really focused on you know, being able to provide multiple types of suppliers in single transactions. It hosts this stuff, all the content. It helps suppliers price that content, manage the inventory, distribute it, and then complete all the payment. So without Simple Night, there is no CGAGO.
So that's
it is the backbone.
that's the glue.
It is the glue. Then there are several other players involved. Union Bank. So Union Bank is one of our
Alright.
partners. We can't do it without them either, right? Because we've got to make money. Visa, another really important partner for us. But some real key partners with Sabre. So Sabre is one of the largest GDS in the world. And Kurt Eckert, their CEO, I've known him since I'm a little boy in the travel space, so it was nice to be able to work with him again. And Sabre, we are exclusive with Sabre as it pertains to their payment system. So they have got a very state-of-the-art payment system that we've been able to leverage. Amadeus, Sabre's competitor, is another very important partner. Again, a very good friend, Robert Buckman, and I have known each other for decades, and it's finally nice to work with him as a partner. And CloudStaff, so CloudStaff's a Filipino company, and Lloyd and I have known each other for a while, and they will handle all of the customer support.
Okay.
Mr. Palmieri, what is your thoughts on the digital divide, especially in the Philippines? We are talking about the most beautiful places in the Philippines, and you know, a lot of, you know, as I said, moving parts are, you know, it's really hard to onboard them. What are the barriers in the Philippines?
Good question.
It is a good question. You know, some of the barriers really seem to lie in the payment side, right? So
Yes.
you have what I think you're the 13th largest country in the world, almost 200 million people, and 1/3 of the country has credit card.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little difficult. So the payment side of what we had to do really had to be geared towards that current environment with you know, a pathway to be able to digitize that so that even someone that wants to pay cash or a bank card or even a gift card can still have that same experience that someone that has a credit card. That was really important. The second was really some of the suppliers are still very manual.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we built a system for them, exclusive for it. Yeah, it's a management console that will allow someone, you know, what I call mom and pop provider, right? The ability to take what they're doing, digitize it, put it on the platform, and make it available for sale.
Okay.
So even though they may not have a booking system, we then become the booking system. So, and that's all free. We don't even charge them for it. It's just an enhancement that will allow us to really provide some level of digitalization for them, because what will happen, the fear would be that if this thing grows too big, then the mom and pop loses.
Yeah.
And you don't want that to happen because they're really the core of it. So you want them to kind of be able to ride the digitalization wave.
Right.
How do you plan to get the word out there? Because, you know, there are actually a lot of, you know, applications just, you know, popping out
Popping
every
up.
which way. You know, I mean, the problem is, you know, there are actually a lot. How do you sort of get your voice heard across
All that noise.
all that noise and cacophony, sir?
Well, it's a good question. And this is the first one, so thank you guys, right?
Yeah.
You're the first one that'll help us get it out there. We hired a really good, really impressive marketing firm here called Active Social. And they, you know, we met with them months and months ago, and I was really, frankly, blown away at how good they were. It was incredible. And they've got an entire campaign planned out. So that you're also leveraging a lot of influencers around the country, you know, movie stars, celebrities, government officials. Keeping in mind, look, it's Filipino. There's a Filipino brand. Everyone wants to be involved in it. So, you know, getting some social media superstars, they want to be a part of it. We don't even have to ask them. They're asking us, can we be a part of this? So that's, you know, I'm not really worried about it, to be frank with you. We have a pretty good plan. So.
Okay, there's a plan.
Yeah. Actually, the app is really good. It's really remarkable. The word will just get it out there.
Right.
Yeah.
But yes, so we'll learn a little bit more about Sige Go and
Mr.
Aquila
Palmieri.
and Mr. Palmieri when we return after this short break.
Yeah.
With Globe, our steps can lead us to millions of doors opening, millions of paths unfolding, and millions of reasons to keep going. Now's the time to be with a network that gets better every day for you.
Iba ng panahon, dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ano bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy to centers, pati sa mga partners may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayan.
You are still watching Pairfect with Mr. David Palmieri, CEO of Aquilus.com. Sir, picking up where we left off, based on what I've learned about Aquila so far, it's about growth. So tell us all about how this became your
Core purpose.
core purpose, if you will.
Well, our growth or our clients' growth. So right, everyone's corporate growth is goal is growth, but the focus really when we transitioned from BPO to more strategic advisory was providing growth for the clients, right? And at the time, it really, it was these companies needed it. They didn't have the relationships, the knowledge of the travel sector, and that's like 60% of the battle. So we would be able to eliminate that and allow these guys to really focus on growth quickly. So it's faster growth, controlled growth, and it became quite popular.
But isn't it the raison d'etre, if you will, of every B2B company? It's to focus on the growth, which is why you are hired.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why they bring us in. So you know, this, you know, the travel, I mean, like every vertical is difficult, every industry is hard, but the travel vertical seems to be just a little bit more difficult. And I think it's, because it's for such a big vertical, it really is not very big, right? It's a closed group of people. And if you're outside that group, it's hard sometimes to break in. And that's something we've been able to do very easily. So the first key is really being able to break into the space and then understanding, as our CEO Danny always says to me, everyone's a snowflake, right? They're always different. So just because you know this airline doesn't mean that those needs or the requirements of that carrier may be the same of another airline or another hotelier. So also it's just understanding what those targets requirements are. So if it's TAP Air Portugal or United Airlines or Hilton, it's Hilton's different than Marriott and so on. And just, yes, they're hotels, but they're different. And it's really closing that knowledge gap, right? So that they understand what to do, how to say it, how to present it to help expedite that cycle and create growth.
The elephant of the room undoubtedly is, travel and booking. So
Yeah.
how do you get a share of the pie, sir?
Well, that's an open question. I mean, what do you mean by get the share of the
Yeah.
pie?
How do you?
Well, who? At
earn
Aquila, CEGO, or in general?
all
what
of
do
your
you-
businesses, sir.
Well, our businesses we are B2B. We have no real B2C applications other than CEGO, which we'll see how the piece of the pie we get there. Our revenue really is based on services provided, so we're paid a retainer. We do not take any revenue off any deals, any growth. They're solely paying us for our expertise and advice. That's really it. And it's hard to grow that, right? Growing that is very difficult because the asset is the person, and it has to be not just any person. It has to be the right person with the right mindset, the right culture, the right connections, the right knowledge, and it was very hard to grow that. It took a long time. It took years, because also by the time this is a very fast-moving industry too. So as you're starting to go, boom, something else happens, right? Like COVID, right? COVID was devastating in some cases to this industry.
Oh,
But
it
I
was.
hate to say this, and I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way. I don't mean it.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise for the travel space, because
Definitely.
it said, like, look, you need to wake up, right? The smart ones really reset. They got to hit that reset button, evaluate what they were doing wrong. They suffered through it, but they're better for it. And now they're seeing the numbers back, the growth is back. And what was most interesting to see was the revenue. So the yields that they were making didn't go down, right? Normally, when you start bringing capacity back into a market, then there's more capacity than demand. That starts to decrease the yield that airlines would make.
It's a nice bell curve.
Yeah, it was a great curve. Yeah. So now capacity's back, demand is high, yield is high, and they seem to, so far, they got it right.
Yeah, but then I guess it takes something like Aquila to identify needs and then provide the solutions to what the industry needs. And I'd like to ask you about Aquila, your company. It's the name itself is Latin for eagle.
Eagle.
So tell us about what your company does for all these.
So we provide strategic business advisory services, software development, market analysis, stuff like that for startups and companies into Fortune 500 companies. So we have a very, very specific knowledge, primarily in commercial aviation. That really is our core. That's my background. That's the majority of the team's background, and it is somewhat unique because we built this business purely on really relationships, right? Having the right people guide me at the right time. Like I say this to everyone, you know, one of my greatest mentors ever is Flo Lugli, and Flo is an icon in the travel space, and she really, I owe my career to her, frankly. She just really took me under her wing. So I'd like to take credit for that, but it was really because I met the right people, right? And then they were able to bring me into this space and put me in a position where I was able to, yes, you have to have the gift of gab and you have to be able to build relationships, but we really, in essence, built the business off those relationships that, and then once you're in it, now you go back to someone like a Flo and say, oh, you know, help me get through this. How do I do this? Right. So we had also the right talent. We had the right timing. We had the right mentors, and now it's. I mean, the growth is.
It's been over 20
it's
years.
tremendous. I mean, it's hundreds of percents per year.
Wow.
And frankly, COVID helped us tremendously.
Yeah. So 127 countries, and you decided to do business in the Philippines.
Well, I do
So-
business in all of them, but
Yeah. 127 countries.
we do.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So what are those unique skill sets do Filipinos have in order to propel your company forward?
Well, our business partner, he's also our chief technology officer, Salito Reyes, was born here in the Philippines, and he just also happens to be my childhood best friend that we grew up together since the age of probably 12. And my stepmother was also Filipino, so I grew up in a Filipino household, both Italian and Filipino.
Oh, now I see.
So I've always had, again, this connection to the Philippines. I've had knowledge of the culture, and you know, here the work ethic is off the charts. It is just, in some cases, unmatched. And again, I hope I'm not insulting anyone, but what some of these people do to get to work is mind-blowing.
Filipino time.
Well, that's they're always late, so I've learned that the hard way too. So if we want to meet at 9, tell everyone 8:30 or 8 o'clock. Oh, we're in traffic. Yeah, we know, but leave earlier. So the work ethic is absolutely incredible, and the pride that they take in everything. It's just, it's so, you know, when you're a CEO, you kind of, you know, you're hiring people. I always said to the team, especially because we've hired an entire team out here, you know, we didn't go after the best people, we went after the right people, right? We wanted the right mindset, the right culture, the right fit, and we scored on it. I mean, the team is incredible. Their work ethic is amazing. The pride that they take in everything that they do, it makes my job really, frankly, pretty easy. You know, it's
People.
it's people. That's everything, right? We can't do it without the people, right? And the you know, as a CEO, something I learned from someone like Flo was we hire people smarter than me, right? It's important to surround yourself with people smarter than you are.
I like that.
And that's what
one.
we did.
Yeah, let's talk about your company cultures. Are they siloed in a way?
No, we are really one big family.
Oh, nice.
It is really important. We want to know every one of them, right? We want to know about their families. I mean, I even spent a couple days taking some of our sales staff and their children to a theme park and putting a 3-year-old little girl on rides because I wanted to know what the families were like. You know, it's so the culture is really a family. We're strict. We don't mess around, right? We
can't afford
we can't
to.
afford that, but that's why again we chose the right people because
So it's
sometimes
key,
people can't fold into it, right?
Right.
And it's easier to take someone that is the right person, that has that family mindset, and blend them into the family versus someone that doesn't have that, stuck in their ways, and it's oil and vinegar. It just doesn't work.
So it's sort of, say, running companies like a corporation.
No longer works.
It no longer works.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
Because in
what
a startup,
I'm saying,
you
it
know,
does for me as the type of leader that I am. I'm more comfortable in that environment, right? I feel that we're able to get more out of them, right? Because it's not. I don't like that 9 to 5 mindset. I'll go there at 9, 5 o'clock. They're looking at the watch. They want to run out the door. When you have a culture like we have, no one's clock watching.
Yes.
Right? They want to do it.
Okay.
right? It's different. I'm not just doing it because I'm getting a paycheck. I'm doing it because I want to do this, and that's the difference. That's what we feel. That's what we see.
It's passion, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very agile. You know, the ideas percolate throughout the organization quickly.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues I had, frankly, was even though you know my best friend's Filipino, Semo's Filipino. You know, when you're in a business environment and you're leading teams, I made several mistakes in it because I just didn't understand. Like, when you say something, they think you mean it literally.
Okay.
You know, and let's start the week off on the right foot. No, both feet down. Not literally the right foot, but just different things. You know, just different things that we use or say back in the States, and they would look at me like, "What? What do you mean?" You know, so that was I had to learn really
The hard way.
Yeah, I made a lot of stupid comments and mistakes.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, I shouldn't
So
have said that.
cultural differences.
Cultural differences, yeah. But now I think I've cracked it.
Okay.
Yeah, so David, talk about your clients. You are also credited for taking over the helm of numerous startups and transform them into a higher revenue market leaders. So what was your first foray
Well,
into this line?
one of my favorites was Plus Grade.
Plus grade.
So it was a startup that we did years and years ago. That was a brilliant idea that Ken Harris, their CEO, had. Absolutely brilliant guy. Said, I have this idea of bidding on a business class upgrade, right? And I'm sitting in the back and I'm looking up in business and saying, like, there's 8 empty seats there. You know, why can't I just pay extra money and sit up front? And he came to us and said, look, I have this idea. This is what I want to do. I thought it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And now, now they're what, a $900 million gorilla. And Ken and I traveled the world together, living out of suitcases, and we went from airline to airline, and now they're one of the most successful travel tech companies in the industry. It was really a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good time.
What a life you've had.
It was fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Digital nomad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Before it became a term, right?
Yes.
Yeah, digital
Yeah.
nomad.
Oh yeah, this was 15, 16 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Probably.
So you strike me as somebody who really spots opportunities like this, and then somebody also is very attuned to people.
Businessman indeed.
Yes, yeah, right. So, and you put it all together in a very successful business. You operate in all countries in the world, as you said. So for you, what does it take to succeed in this kind of work? I mean, it's not very common to have a company like yours doing what you do.
Being at the top,
Yeah,
in
staying
charge
there.
of all things. Yeah.
You know, great question.
Yeah.
I just have to answer, I guess, the way I feel best answering it. For me, you know, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to follow in my father's.
Really?
Yeah, my father's an orthopedic surgeon, and
Okay.
I really wanted to be a doctor. And my father said, you know what, David, it's tough, you know. You have a gift of gab, you have nice personality, and I really think you should pursue business instead. So I did, and he was right. And I guess it's a combination of real street smarts and book smarts that helps it, because I just have a sense, I just have this sixth sense where I put it together quick. I don't know how I do it. They ask me all the time, how'd you think about that? I don't know. It just, it hits you, right?
Yeah.
You see this, you see that, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm formulating it, and before you know it, boom, we're there.
Wow.
It's just, and again, of course, when you have other leaders that are with us that are as equally as smart or smarter, they make that even easier to do, because, it's such a relief to know that I have them there, because I know there's so much trust and a peace of mind that if I do this, I know that team's going to take it and they're going to do it. Right? I don't have to question. I don't have to call up and say, Danny, can we do this? Mark, can we do that? Salito, can we? No, and vice versa. If they're doing things, they know I've got it, right? And it's really, again, back to the culture, the trust, surrounding yourself with really great people, the ability to identify gaps and identify value quickly,
Yes.
and then know that your team they're going to deliver. It makes it really much easier to do.
Have you ever failed? I mean, face down, rock
course.
bottom.
Absolutely.
Good question
And what did you
again.
learn?
I failed and failed hard, yes, and definitely rock bottom. I almost think it's great for everybody to hit
Rock
the bottom, because you can't get any lower,
Yeah.
right? And
Only
there is
to go
only
up.
one way to go, and that's
Yeah.
back up. And I learned a lot. I was, when I was a young CEO, I'm a hot-headed Italian from New Jersey. I wouldn't think before answering emails. I have no problem blasting someone on an email, and you make some really stupid mistakes, and you're just like, oh, I should have never sent that, or I should have never said that, and then you pay the price. And so, I did. I've learned a lot over the years to be a lot calmer, be more focused,
Okay.
relax, just think things through, rely on the team, depend on. I have a tendency, even though I may feel that I'm right, I'm not always right. No one ever is. But I love to go to the team and say, guys, what do you think? Am I right on this? Am I off? And they help close those gaps if I am. If I'm not, it's quick on board and we go. But that's from making so many, and I mean a lot of mistakes, not one or two, a lot. And I think also being a good leader is to not make them again.
Yeah,
You make
learn
them
from
once,
your mistakes.
you make them twice, then you really have
Yeah,
a bigger issue.
right.
Right?
Yeah,
So
but it's very expensive. To
it can
fail.
be
Yeah.
tremendously expensive.
So you micromanage, sir?
No,
You don't.
I don't. I don't believe in micromanagement.
No, he relies on the team, so
You rely on the team.
You can't-
You,
you can't leave.
you hire these people or partner with these people because of the value.
Right.
And if I have to
Yeah.
second guess them, then why do I have them there? You have to trust them, and I do. So I don't worry about it. They just do their job.
But
It's a
you didn't
business.
start out that way.
No, I did not. I was the exact opposite. And it backfired
Big
numerous times, yeah.
time. Okay.
So, in what areas do you find the travel and hospitality space today in need of growth innovation, sir?
Well, this show's not long enough to answer that question. But, maybe we could do that on another
All
segment.
right.
But no, look,
Yeah.
again, it's understanding the travel space. There's a lot of need for it, but they are focusing on it. Again, COVID helped a lot of that surface, right? To say, wow, well, if we had this or if we did that, if we could have done this better or that better, it would not have had maybe such a devastating impact or whatever, or 9/11. 9/11 was tough, but the industry desperately needs it. But they are leading. I mean, they are there. They're improving every day, and I think what I'd like to see, frankly, is a lot of these bigger companies get out of analysis paralysis.
Okay.
Right? They get into this analysis of something, and by the time they're done, it's already antiquated. Right? It's like just go. And I'm starting to see that change now in some of the big guys that lead our space. They see it and they're going for it, and that's great.
That's the difference
It's great.
between the startups and then the big
Well, I think
companies.
startups have the ability to move on a dime. The value of the startup is
Yeah.
I'm not I don't have the restraints of being publicly traded, or I only have one guy to go to make the decision. I don't have a board. I don't have hundreds of people. So startups have it, in my opinion, a little bit easier. The bigger boys like Sabre, Amadeus, IBM, Microsoft, their hands are tied sometimes.
Right. Okay. It's very interesting things we're talking about here, and we'll continue after a short commercial break.
Viber is the free and secure way to connect with friends and family anywhere. Send messages and make phone and video calls for free. Download Viber now.
With Globe, our steps can lead us to millions of doors opening, millions of paths unfolding, and millions of reasons to keep going. Now's the time to be with a network that gets better every day for you.
Iba ng panahon, centers, pati sa mga parties may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayad.
You are still on Pairfect with Mr. David Palmieri. So let's learn about the man of the hour more.
Yes.
So you have worked in technology for a long time, and your work basically just takes you all over the world. So was this something you aspired for when you were younger?
Younger, thank you. As I said earlier, no. I mean, I really wanted to be a doctor. And then when I switched to business and I got into travel space, I will say it is one of the most amazing industries in the world. There's just something about it. You know, after 9/11, I struggled quite a bit because I was there. I watched it unfold, and
No, really.
yes,
You
I
don't say.
still travel with my World Trade Center ID, and I was going to work that morning, and I looked over at the towers, and I
Oh,
saw
you were
the-
on your way
yeah,
there?
yeah.
Wow.
So it was really the kind of changing point for me, right? When I had because I loved to fly. I just loved aviation. I was fascinated by it, and
Yeah.
I loved it. And ever since 9/11, it really kind of changed, and now I'm definitely afraid to fly. But it hasn't really changed the passion I have for this business. It's, but you know, I wanted to take some time off, and I thought maybe I couldn't be in travel anymore after 9/11, but I couldn't leave the industry. It's just amazing vertical to work in.
In your blood.
It is, yeah.
Travel.
Yeah. So, having worked in this industry for over 20 years,
Yes, 20
what
years.
is your advice to executives or leaders in the travel and technology industries?
Well, to the big boys, try to get out of analysis paralysis. These guys are super smart. They know what the industry needs. They just need to do it. Because they are absolutely brilliant leaders in this space. You know, and for the startups, really, you really have to understand this industry, and it can be brutal. It can be hard. Breaking in, no matter how good the product or solution is, takes time. You have to be patient. You have to be focused. And as I tell a lot of our clients, you know, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth because you should listen twice as much as you should talk. And it's really important to listen to everybody, right? And understand before you just go in and like a bull in the china shop and think that you have the best product or best solution. You really have to listen and listen carefully. I guess that's really it.
So how's that for advice? So yeah, sir, thank you so much for gracing our show.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
We enjoyed talking with you, but before we go, perhaps you'd like to invite our viewers or, talk a little bit more about Sigego.
Yeah, so we're excited about Sigego. Again, it's the first of its kind. It is launching on June 8th. So that's an exciting day for us and for the country. And I just hope they love it as much as we do. I think they will. That's really it. I just, hopefully it's a success.
Yeah, so Mr. David Palmieri of Aquila and Sigego. This has been Pairfect. My name is Vernon Velasco.
And I am Dinah Ventura.
Good
Thank you for
afternoon.
joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you.